Your 2024 SEO tactics are dead. In 2025, AI overviews own the top of the funnel, LLMs control the narrative in the middle, and if you're not ranking number 1 or number 2 on Google for transactional keywords at the bottom of the funnel, you simply will not make any money. This is the 2025 e-commerce SEO playbook that continues to make our clients hundreds of thousands of dollars every single month in organic search revenue, while every other SEO agency's playbook continues to fade into irrelevance. Let's break it down. All right, so what's changed in 2025 thus far in SEO? First off, it's still not dead. As always, it just continues to change, all right? I can tell you it's not dead. We've signed 5 or 6 brands this month. We've got 5 or 6 more brands already slated to start in May, okay? SEO is definitely not a dying industry. It is just changing. It changes how it works, okay? And we are evolving alongside with it. Now, specifically, how is it changing? Content. Top of funnel blog content is near worthless. Middle of funnel and bottom of funnel blog content will earn you more citations in LLMs, and bottom of funnel content is going to continue to drive 95% of your revenue, okay? I've covered all of these particular 3 topics in extensive detail. I'm going to cover them again in this video and explain why each part or how each part functions as part of an entire system, okay? As far as links, you will need more backlinks than ever this year to continue to rank. Authority is going to be the absolute kingpin kind of SEO this year. And your internal linking probably sucks, all right? Now, this is how to win in e-commerce SEO while you still can, okay? No doubt SEO is changing with AI overviews, AI mode rolling out on Google, increased adoption of LLMs, and overall more AI dominance, okay? This has all happened in the last couple months. Anthropic warns AI employees are 1 year away, which is nuts to even think about. AI reviews are taking 34.5% of clicks. This means little to no top of funnel blog content anymore. Again, I've covered this extensively. I'm going to cover it again here. And increased LLM adoption, okay? I'm going to link this entire playbook in the description below. So take a look at it, click through all these links, okay? This is the Anthropic link where the CEO of Anthropic warned about the AI employees. This is an Ahrefs study about the impact on AI reviews on clicks, and increased LLM adoption is pretty much how many. This is a Backlinks study about how many users are actually using ChatGPT, okay? I couldn't find one about all the LLMs, so you're going to have to stick with chat. I think the headline is 400 million weekly active users on ChatGPT, okay, which is obviously a pretty stark growth over the last few months. So check that out. I won't show you guys the Ahrefs studies right now, but feel free to click on that later on. Only way to win is to adapt, okay? We've gone through Google updates. We've gone through hundreds of those, but we're going through AI overviews and kind of an AI evolution in search. This is how we're still winning thus far. Content. Top of funnel, pretty much worthless, okay? Blogs have been a staple of e-commerce SEO forever. It's definitely as long as I've been in the industry, which is about 5 or 6 years now. And they've been probably as long as I've been alive. They've been a part of SEO, okay? Now, there's a couple of different ways they function, all right? Mostly to drive traffic. For some people use it creatively to use Google retargeting or remarketing, which is great. A lot of people just use Google or blog traffic to inflate a vanity metric, which is simply just traffic. The third reason they kind of use it is to leverage topical authority. I've talked extensively about topical authority in the last year or so. You'll definitely notice I've backed off on it in the last few months. It works. It just takes so long to work, okay? AI is changing search so fast, and topical authority for the average niche, depending on what you're selling, can take as long as 12 to 18 months to kind of amass or become the number 1 authority on your topic, okay? If you're covering a supplement space or anything in the health and fitness or medical space, I would probably double this timeline, okay? You definitely cannot be the number 1 topical authority on the internet in any of those spaces, largely because you're going to have to compete with Healthline, WebMD, who have been at this for decades, okay? You don't have the luxury of time anymore, okay? By the time you are 12 to 18 months down the road, there's an exceptionally good chance that search is going to look a lot different, okay? So you need to make money while you can, which is where we're going to get to. The other thing about topical authority that seems to get misconstrued a lot is you cannot build topical authority by simply having the content on your site, okay? If you write 1,000 blogs about your topic and none of them get any traffic, you are not by any means a topical authority, okay? That just quite literally means you've written about topics, okay? As far as Google's concerned, you're you're like a hobby blogger. Okay, like it doesn't mean anything to you. It has to be the content you write, blog content. If you are going to do topical authority, which again I'm not recommending, your blog content would have to be good enough to actually rank and drive traffic. Okay, that will influence the power of your internal links and really influence the overall structure of your topical authority. Okay, next up, middle of funnel and bottom funnel blog content will earn you more citations in LLMs. Okay, one of my videos last week, I just showed you how I removed all blog content from our strategies, and all of a sudden, our traffic completely exploded. Okay, recent study, forgot who it came out from, but it's linked in that video. 50-74% of all AI citations are from middle of funnel and bottom of funnel content, not top of funnel. Why? Hard to say, but my suspicion is that most top of funnel content could be answered by its standard knowledge base, either through paraphrasing or kind of its general knowledge base. Basically, it doesn't need to cite top of funnel articles because a lot of top of funnel stuff is considered common knowledge, right? If I were to search for like, I don't know, what is SEO? There's probably an AI review that will just explain it to me. Okay, you don't need to cite a specific source for that. It's kind of just considered common knowledge, right? Now, if I were to go a little bit further down the funnel, like, SEO versus paid ads for e-commerce, like if I were to search for that, guaranteed there would be some articles that are linked and cited, whether it's in AI reviews or in an LLM, that would link me to articles that are kind of breaking down those differences. Okay. Middle of funnel, in addition to that, is going to also drive more revenue than top of funnel content ever will. Okay. Kind of putting a bow on the middle and top, it would be dumb to not write content that makes you more money and also earns more citations in LLMs, which is absolutely the future of how we search as humans and how we as SEOs also optimize for those searches. Okay. Like I said, ChatGPT is at 400 million weekly users and growing. If you do not want to make more money and you do not want to get in front of 400 million people per week, then don't write middle of funnel content. But if you do want to do those things, I would recommend you stick to the middle of funnel and bottom of funnel. Okay. And last up, bottom funnel content is going to drive 95% of your entire revenue. Okay. People are still shopping on Google. That is why brands are still spending tens and hundreds of thousands of dollars on Google Ads. Okay. If you're still spending money on Google Ads, that means you believe in Google as an engine. Okay. You should still also be spending/investing your money to rank number one organically, to cut down on your CPA, your average like customer acquisition cost. Okay. Yes, brands are pulling back. Some brands are pulling back spend for tariff related items, but as far as I'm aware, I haven't seen any brand pull back because they don't believe the future of Google as a viable revenue driving engine for their brand. Okay. If you rank number one on search engines for transactional keywords, be that Google or an LLM, you will make money. Okay. Everything else you do in e-commerce SEO is dedicated to making that happen. No other metrics matter. Okay. You need to rank number one and number two for transactional keywords, as many of them as you possibly can, ideally higher in volume and ideally as high converting as you possibly can. Okay. Everything else we do to make that singular thing happen is irrelevant. Okay. Now the rankings number one and two will influence your organic search revenue. But again, like we need to get to number one and number two first before anything else happens. Link building, internal links. Okay. Still the lowest cost, easiest and strongest lever you can pull in SEO. You would be amazed at how much internal links can actually do for your site when done properly. I've dropped a handful of videos on internal linking. I have a full free guide right here. You should go watch it. Okay. I've seen sites completely turn around after auditing their internal linking. I actually just talked to another agency owner yesterday, and he had flipped around the entire internal linking on an enterprise level site. And all of a sudden their traffic had, I think he said like 5 or 6x in the matter of a week. Okay. So internal linking, when done well, is like the easiest thing. It's the easiest when you can get an SEO. Okay. So go watch that video because it will explain absolutely everything how to do it in e-commerce. Just to give kind of a brief sample of that video, you should be building them liberally from your homepage to your collections. Okay. The reason you do this is because a lot of your backlinks are aimed at your homepage. Internal links will help distribute that link equity, link juice, however you want to think about it, to your core collections. Okay. You should also build links between similar collections, again, to continue spreading that link juice, and also from blogs to collections. Okay. From blogs to collections helps you build the topical authority component. Again, I'm not doing a lot of that right now. However, if you start ranking middle of funnel blogs and you link and you're getting traffic for them and you're linking from those middle of funnel blogs, bottom of funnel blogs even, to your collection pages, you are passing on a lot more value to the collection pages, which will help them rank even higher. Okay. So very important to do internal linking correctly. Again, go check out my video. It's a free full guide on internal linking. There's charts, diagrams, examples, like it's a good video. Okay. Backlinks. I am increasing each of our clients' backlink investments by 10 to 20% every single month. Okay. This cuts into my own margins, unfortunately. However, if the brands we work with don't rank number one or number two, I'm not going to make any money anyway because they're not going to work with us. Okay. So I have to rank them higher. This means spending more money on links. Okay. Not only are they getting more expensive, I mean, if you're buying on like marketplaces and resellers, they're definitely getting more expensive. But you just honestly need to have more of them. Okay. You want to build 10 links a month in 2024, fine. You're going to need to build 12 or 13 every single month in 2025. Like simple as that. Authority is going to be more important than ever. AI content has made it a complete race to the bottom. Okay. Everyone with a laptop can spin up a site, a dropshipping site, an e-commerce site of any kind, push out all the AI content they can possibly dream of. So if you're just doing that, or even just doing human written content, it doesn't matter. Authority is what is going to separate you from the lowest common denominators in this space. Okay. Backlinks are the best way to do that. Simple as that. Most marketplaces are reselling each other's links for insane costs. Okay. The best way to get links is to go straight to the source. I've got a ton of videos on backlink building, how to QA links, where to spend, things like that. Best way to go is to the source. Yes, it's hard. Yes, it's logistically intense. And yes, there's a lot of QA involved. But if you're spending a couple $100 a link, I would imagine you would like to get the best bang for your buck. So that hard work is worth it. Okay. Marketplaces are insane. I know for a fact that marketplaces will sell other links, like sell some of their links to other marketplaces. And then the second marketplace will still sell it as an upcharge to the client. Okay. So from the original site, it got marked up when it got listed on the first marketplace. And then when it got marked up a second time, when it got listed on the second marketplace. And then by the time it got to the client, cost was, I've seen costs that are like 600 to 700% higher than the initial cost. Okay. So that is the kind of money you will have to spend if you do not decide to go reach out to sites yourself. Okay. You will be paying an obnoxiously high markup. And don't get me wrong, there are some good marketplaces out there, and every single marketplace has some good links. You just have to do your own QA to find it, to find them, the needles in the haystack, essentially. Okay. It is up to you to spend your money profitably. If you decide to waste money because you don't want to do good link building, that's on you. But you should also not be shocked if you're not performing as well as you want. Okay. Best way to build links right now. This is the playbook we're running. Link insertions. For link insertions, you need a page, and ideally an entire domain that's relevant to you. That page, as well as the domain, has to have a solid amount of traffic. Again, I run through all these metrics on my other backlink building videos, so go check that out. I'll link that in the notes too. And the pages you're building link insertions on should be somewhat empty pages. Okay. If you find a page that has like 10 other link insertions on it, probably don't build on that one. Okay. You find one that has like 1 or 2 or 3, fine, go build on that one. The page will also have internal links within that site. That's totally fine. Okay. That's like a normal looking site. That's actually like best case. But again, like link insertions, you need to be careful about them. Guest posting and tiered links. Most guest posts, as I've talked about, do not get any traffic. Okay. You write the content, you pay the fee, you think you control the narrative, then you find out the page never got indexed, never got any internal links built to it, doesn't get any traffic at the end of the day. That guest post is effectively worthless to you. The way to fix that, the way to combat that, is to build tiered links to guarantee that the guest post does get traffic. Okay. I've also got a video on tiered link building. You should go check that out. We kind of stopped doing that last few months. We're getting back into it and seeing some success. The reason we're doing it is just back to what I said a second ago about link insertions and building on pages that are too crowded. If we're having trouble finding domains and pages on those domains that are too crowded, with already existing link insertions, we will just supply a guest post and get our own kind of like, we'll get our own page with our own traffic, and we'll have the only link on it. Okay. The good news is when you do that, it's like a 50-50 shot, maybe not 50-50, probably like 40-60 shot that the website will actually not allow anyone else to publish a link on your page. So you're actually like, you're kind of siloed off, which is nice. And you have the traffic with the tiered links to support it. So good thing there. Reactive PR is another good thing too. Harrow's coming back. There's a lot of other platforms out there that do the same thing. Quoted, Featured, I think there's a new one out. I forgot the name. Run by like one of the best PR guys I've ever seen. All good platforms, all offer their own kind of benefit. I think if you're serious about doing PR link building, you should be on all of them. I know people who have just started doing SEO and they're earning like 3 to 5 a month with Harrow to build their homepage authority. 3 to 5 if you spend like an hour or two a day is not unreasonable. We do this kind of link building for all of our clients. I think it is the most cost effective in the sense that like technically all the links are free. However, you have to reckon with an hour or two of your time every single day for, every single week, right? So let's say you work 5 to 6 days a week. That's anywhere from 5 or let's say 5 to 12 hours a week. I don't know how you value your time. But again, like the links are free. You're not paying any fees. You just have to pay in your time. Okay. However, I think when you get a good system going, you can pitch kind of on autopilot. You'll also start to build rapport with journalists. And as a result, you're going to start landing more than 3 to 5. Okay. Now I like reactive PR over digital PR or proactive PR only because digital PR, proactive PR are also obnoxiously high startup costs, whether you're doing it in-house. If you're doing it in-house, you have to pay thousands of dollars for the right software tools to get the right journalists on your contact list and then send them emails and all that kind of stuff. Then you also have to invest a ton of time in actually creating pitches, likely that will amount well beyond just your 10 to 12 hours a week. Pitches are going to take you quite a long time if you want to get them coverage. Journalists are exceptionally picky. And you're also kind of subject to the news cycle. We were running some digital PR campaigns on our own, like as a test, and then tariffs happened and journalists just completely stopped opening and responding. Like tariffs just completely dominated the news cycle. So you are a little subject to that, which sucks. Reactive PR, you're less subjective to that because journalists are quite literally reaching out for a comment. Okay. If you're paying an agency for digital PR, you're going to pay no less than probably 3.5 or 4,000 USD per campaign. You might get 10 links out of that. I don't know. Personally, for me, I don't think it's worth the cost. I've tried it out. I've tried a few agencies. I've tried it in-house. If you are really, really good at it, which I know some people who are, it's absolutely worth it. I think the average SEO or the average brand is better off with link insertions, guest posting, plus tiered links and reactive PR. Okay. PR is digital PR is a special breed of people that can get it right. So you need a lot of contacts, you need a lot of upfront costs. The other three are more than capable of getting you to the number one spot in Google. That is these three I just broke down are exactly what we do, and it's working exceptionally well. Okay. Now we've covered quite a bit in this playbook here. If you want to do it yourself, hats off to you. Good luck. Otherwise, I will do this for you. Okay. If you are a 7 to 9-figure Shopify brand that wants this playbook completely built for you quickly and correctly, so you can maximize your organic revenue while we still have time, let me know. Check out this doc below. Book a call. Links in the description. This will run through case studies, FAQs about us, who am I, all that stuff. Okay. FAQs, how our process works, all that kind of stuff. Okay. So you want to check me out, links in the description, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.